This is my video for the Phoenix Rod and Gun Club 3rd Sunday Match Extravaganza. Warning, there is adult language in this video. I'm leaving it in to give you the full match experience from my perspective. The day started out with the shotgun/pistol caliber carbine match at 9 a.m. I'm competing in Shotgun Home Defense Division with my Remington 870 in Doomslayer Cerakote by Wheatley II. I have a Vortex Crossfire Red Dot mounted in a KE Arms mount. This gun does have a 6+1 capacity, which makes target arrays like this a bit more difficult where I have to do standing reloads. This shotgun has 33% less capacity than my normal competition shotgun I use at 3-gun matches in Stealth Division. So sometimes my loading sequences are a bit off, and I'll end up with an extra shell left over in my hand. On this stage, I am first out of 3 competitors in Shotgun Home Defense Division. Here I am competing in Pistol Caliber Carbine Open Division with my KE9 Commando. It has a Vortex Crossfire Red Dot mounted on it as well. In place of the flying clays, there are smaller yellow targets located at the back of the range. I was second in Pistol Caliber Carbine Open Division on this stage. This stage begins with a shotgun slug plate at 50 yards. I then transition to the Texas Star at about 15 yards. This is where the limitations of not having a choke come into play. No chokes are allowed in Shotgun Home Defense Division. I am using number 6-shot game loads, but it does require a couple hits on some of these plates to knock them off.
Finally.
I was first in Shotgun Home Defense Division on this stage. In PCC divisions, the shooter begins by getting 4 hits on the plate at 50 yards. I was first in PCC Open on this stage. As I'm loading, I work my way left across the range. There is one final target from the left-hand side that I cannot see from the start position. During this loading sequence, I end up with a couple extra shells left over in my hand that don't fit in the tube. Because my hand isn't gripping the pump as it normally would, I short stroke the pump once during this sequence. I was first in Shotgun Home Defense Division on this stage. Now here's where things go wrong on my Pistol Caliber Carbine run. I get so in the zone engaging all the targets that I can see from the start position that I completely forget that I need to move over to the left to see the final target on the left-hand side of the range. In the moment, part of my brain is thinking that I saved myself some time by not having to move.
If you're finished, unload choke clear. What about the other?
Oh, fuck. Just give me a +10.
Okay, have a plank.
I'm thinking of being clever over here.
I thought you were just did it intentionally.
Nah.
I guess I should have asked you sooner. Sorry.
It's all right. There's my mental error for the day.
By the time I realize my mistake, it's not worth moving over and reloading to engage the target. That plus 10-second penalty drops me down to 6th in PCC Open on this stage. This stage is very straightforward. The shooter has 2 plate racks and 1 MGM spinner target to neutralize from their respective shooting positions. I was first in Shotgun Home Defense Division on this stage. I decided to try a different movement pattern on my run with the PCC, going right, then left, then forward to the center.
Over.
I was second PCC Open on this stage. In the end, I was second in PCC Open. The plus 10-second penalty I got on the third stage cost me first place. I was 4th overall in PCC Open and 15th overall in Shotgun Home Defense. After taking a lunch break, I came back and shot through the 2-gun action challenge match starting at 2 p.m. The main match started at 4:30. This stage begins with the shooter neutralizing 1 plate on the Texas Star, grounding the pistol, moving over to this rifle engagement area, unslinging their rifle, loading it, and engaging 1 of the paper targets. Each paper requires 2 hits each. 0 zones count. Anything outside the 0 zone adds time. They then ground the rifle, come back, shoot the pistol again, and repeat this process until all 5 plates are off the Texas Star and all 5 paper targets have been engaged. The pistol I am shooting is my KE-34 Charlie with Warren Tactical Savigny carry sights. The rifle I'm shooting is the 605-ish clone that I built for use in Classic Division at Desert Brutality. I am competing in Armored Division wearing a plate carrier, but I'm using Iron Sight Division equipment, basically getting all the negatives of wearing the equipment required for Armored Division and none of the firearm equipment advantages that I normally would have running a red dot on my rifle and a red dot on my pistol. I am second in Armored Division on this stage with no points down on the paper. Overall, I was 15th out of 42 shooters that completed the match. On this stage, the shooter begins with 1 round chambered in their rifle. They then have to go through this tube and retrieve 1 magazine loaded with 2 rounds. This process repeats until all 4 targets have been engaged with a minimum of 2 hits each.
More McDonald's play place practice.
Woo! It's like fun.
Yeah.
No, it's not particularly fun. There's not enough shooting on this stage to make up for the inconvenience of having to go back and forth and retrieve a magazine every 2 rounds.
Just wait, stage 4 is better. That'll eat your lunch.
Fuck you, Paul.
You love it.
The match director, Paul, enjoys pushing people to their point of failure. Shooters that completed this stage a lot faster than me did it by diving headfirst through the pipe, there and back. This sped up their runs significantly. Some competitors also went through, retrieved a magazine, threw it into the shooting box, and repeated this process until all the magazines were in the shooting box.
Go, go!
There is a par time of 120 seconds, and I am rapidly approaching it. Here I have a misfeed out of the magazine. I clear it and have 1 round left to finish the stage. I was 10th out of 11 Armored Division shooters on this stage. Overall, I was 38th out of 42 shooters that completed the match. The shooter begins with only 6 rounds in their pistol. I take my time making clean hits on this plate rack so I don't have to come back after I reload for this second plate rack. On the way to the spinner, I proactively reload, as is my habit when engaging spinners. Doing so, I unwittingly cost myself a dropped magazine penalty by not retaining the partially expended magazine.
I see clear, drop it, click it, holster. 1 drop mag penalty, 2191.
Oh, we're doing those.
It's 2-gun.
We're doing those rules now.
Tucson rules. It's the Tucson rules.
So what's the drop mag? +5?
No, it's like +15 or some shit. I forget.
I think it's 5.
It's 5.
Whatever it is. That's fine. It's 5. Okay.
It's actually +10 seconds. The Phoenix 2-gun match used to have its own rule set. It is now run under the same rules as the Tucson 2-gun action challenge match, which includes a dropped magazine penalty for partially expended magazines. I don't care to debate whether or not matches should have dropped magazine penalties for partially expended magazines. That's irrelevant to what I'm talking about here. What is relevant is that competitors should always be aware of the differences between the different rule sets of the matches they attend and be conscientious of them as they are participating in a particular match. Shooting 2 different matches in the same day with 3 different sets of equipment is definitely part of my mental processing issue here. There were no dropped magazine penalties at the PCC match held earlier in the day at the same range. Likewise, the matches previously run by the Phoenix crew did not include this rule, so it simply wasn't on my mind when I was preparing to shoot the stage or while I was shooting it. Even with that penalty, however, I was still the fastest time in Armored Division using an iron sight pistol. Overall, I was 5th on this stage. On this stage, the shooter must engage a single paper target from each position, moving under different numbers of sticks to get to different positions throughout the course of fire. Knocking off a stick was a +5 second procedural penalty. I learned a better technique to go under these sticks from watching competitors at the other 2-gun action challenge matches. Whereas I previously used to crawl on all 4s underneath of them, I now do kind of a sideways Gollum shuffle if you've seen Lord of the Rings, where he puts one hand on the ground and kind of shuffles his feet sideways as he moves. That seems to be the most effective movement method for someone of my size and gear to get under these. The most effective technique I saw used by smaller, more agile competitors is to do a stretch lean going underneath these so they never actually get down on their knees. They're always standing and they can pop right back up as they clear underneath the next position. I was 7th out of 11 in Armored Division on the stage with no points down on paper. Overall, I was 31st out of 42 shooters. In the end, I was 4th in Armored Division out of 11 shooters, using Iron Sight Division equipment. In the end, I was 17th out of 42 shooters that completed the match. Had I been scored in Iron Sight Division, I would have been 2nd out of 6 shooters in irons. My friend Neil in Tactical Iron Division was also competing wearing armor, so we were basically in our own mini division competing against each other. He ended up getting me by about 8 seconds, because of my dropped magazine penalty. Otherwise, I would have been 2 seconds ahead of him. The February 2019 2-gun action challenge match in Phoenix was 2/3 movement speed test, 1/3 shooting test. I would like to see this ratio balanced out a bit more in the future, but it's in town and it's convenient to attend. So for those of you looking for 2-gun in Phoenix, it is here as an option. Shooting 3 different equipment divisions and 2 different match formats in the same day is more mentally challenging than anything else. I have shot major matches that had 8 to 10 stages with the staff all in one day on multiple occasions, and I find that to be easier than doing what I did here. One set of equipment and one set of match rules is easier to deal with mentally than switching between multiple sets of equipment and multiple sets of rules. Nonetheless, I performed reasonably well in all 3 events, with first place in shotgun home defense, second place in open PCC, and fourth place in armored or second place in irons, depending on how you want to look at it. Thank you for watching, and come back again for more match and multi-gun competition content.